How do we handle, when societies have decided to commit genocide or to oppress women or enslave people?
When you come online to defend a god who commanded the unaliving of different civilizations and treated people like property, you can't help but look like a clown. But let's go through his video.
How did you decide that someone who doesn't do something because it is harmful to someone else is better than someone who doesn't do something because they're scared of punishment?
It's the same thing as saying what's the difference between someone who doesn't steal and someone who the only thing stopping them from stealing is jail time. Because when you remove jail time, that person goes ahead and becomes a thief.
What do you mean by good person? Because you see, goodness is the nature of God. And because, as we Christians believe, you were made in the image of God, you are very much capable of being good, just like every flat earther.
I'm not a huge fan of circular arguments, but I will try to engage honestly. In this case, goodness means not doing harm by decreasing suffering and increasing well-being. And when someone does a good thing, something that most likely causes the most happiness for the most amount of people, we don't need God to define what goodness is. Assuming goodness is God's nature feels like circular reasoning, because I have to presuppose that a God exists first, then say yes, okay, good, this God exists, then goodness is in him.
Lives on a round earth. Just because you believe in a flat earth doesn't mean you do not live on a round or spherical earth, right?
I would like you to imagine that morality is a territory of, human suffering and flourishing, and religion is the map. A map is helpful for finding your way, but the mountains and rivers exist whether you have the map or not. And secular morality is simply trying to look at the territory itself, human well-being, without relying on a map that might be thousands of years out of date.
So just because you believe there is no God does not mean that you do not exist in a reality where God does in fact exist. So yes, you're very much capable of being good. You just can't justify that.
And long before modern religions existed, humans lived in tribes. If everyone murdered and stole, the tribe will die out. So we evolved to select for empathy, fairness, and cooperation because those traits allowed us to survive. Because I think morality isn't just a personal opinion, it's a survival strategy that has been baked into our DNA. And we don't need a book to tell us that cooperation is better than just chaos. It's like saying you need a book to tell you breathing is better than not breathing.
You don't even know what that means as an atheist. I've heard a few attempts. It's almost always bad, and it's almost always either this is just my opinion, whatever I think is good, or well, societal consensus. And if we go with it's just my opinion, then it differs from person to person, and you're just probably wrong. And then if we go with societal consensus, then how do we handle, when societies have decided to commit genocide or to oppress women or enslave people? What exactly do you mean by good person?
Religious morality hasn't actually protected us from that. Throughout history, people have used God's nature to justify the very things he mentioned: crusades, inquisitions, and even slavery. Secular morality is actually more stable because it relies on the evidence of harm, not the presence of a God. I do respect the need for an objective foundation, but instead of grounding morality in a who, which is basically God, we can ground it in a what, the objective reality of suffering. Because we don't need to be made in the image of God to deserve respect. We just need to be able to feel pain and joy. Instead of depending on the morality of a book which has been outdated, a morality based on the God that has commanded the unaliving of different civilizations, we should instead look on to teaching people the morality that is dependent on causing harm or doing more good to people. So do you still disagree with secular morality? Let me know in the comments.